Hey guys, Manipulation here with another Coach Cast. This is a GM level TvZ sent in by Jakamakala, which is our red Terran in the top right player. And in the bottom left, we have our blue Zerg player, Steadfast. Now, this is going to be a little bit more interesting, I would imagine, as most of my games are not GM level. Looks like we got a little bit of a pause going down for Steadfast. Hopefully that won't cause too many issues in this game. With that being said, TvZ is one of the weirder matchups in my opinion because I feel like I either win really easily or I die just as easily. I don't feel like there's ever really any close games that I win. I feel like I either just lose out or win out. Partially thanks to the bunny build. Whenever I'm on a map that favors, the bunny build is definitely broken and it's amazing. And to the Zergs that have to endure that, I apologize. But at the same thing, I don't feel so bad considering how disgusting the Ravager all-in was the first week or two of Legacy of the Void. But looks like we got a hatch first pool follow-up out of Steadfast, and he is taking a gas. Yep. Alright, so this looks like it's going to be a pretty standard build out of both players here. Nothing too cheeky going on. Got the first two overlords heading out. One will be going over here, I'd imagine. Yep. And this one will probably pass right over the production just to see what's coming out, which will be a Reaper. So with that being pointed out, we're going to have Steadfast putting a few drones into gas now. And then we'll see from there what each player would like to do. And at this point, I'd like to remind you guys that I am a Master Terran / Protoss player, and I am looking to try and get into coaching / casting people. So if you'd like to send me replays or whatever, you can link a GG tracker and comments, or if you see either of my Reddit threads, you can send me something on there. That's completely okay with me as well. So back into the game, we have Jakamakala getting his reactor down. Imagine he's going to put down a factory. There it is. He's got two gases. His natural command center is almost done. Steadfast is going to come in and see this, however, so he should know pretty well what's going on. Reaper comes in, gets a little bit of poking down. But it doesn't look like he's going to get too much in the means of drones. I feel like he could have gotten one, but I think he might have been hitting the assimilator instead. Or extractor, my bad. Okay, so we've got quite a few minerals here for both players, so it makes me think that they're both going to go for another base here pretty soon. So the Reaper does get 2 drones for its trouble when it gets out. Maybe? Oh, okay, never mind. Spoke too soon. All because of that weird path. Oh, never mind. You actually can't just jump down right there. Okay. Well, I thought this was a whole area, so that's unfortunate. 2 Marines pushing off this Overlord. It is going to get away, though. Starport coming down. 2 Hellions in production, so we'll probably see a little bit of Hellion aggression just to make sure he keeps the creep spread in check and everything. Steadfast already has his 3rd base down. So everything's looking pretty standard here still from both players. Nothing too interesting. This Overlord's going to move in and probably see everything. These Marines might be able to get over there and shoot it down afterwards, though. Let's see what he opts to do with this. Okay, he's going to swap this on. Now the question becomes, will he make medevacs or will he make liberators? He has the money for either or. So, 2 liberators, alright. So, with this he can do a couple of things. I think the most interesting, since he didn't go for the extra range liberator build, he can kind of just come fly over and put 2 liberation fields down and like cut off this whole area. It'll be really hard for Queens to really get anything done, but that's all just speculation, and we'll see here in just a second what he ends up doing. The Hellions are moving across the map, so what I like to do personally is once my liberator gets in position, then I'll move my Hellions in, because you can pull his attention. If he's not paying attention, the liberator will eliminate a mineral line pretty quickly. But if he doesn't pay attention to the Hellions, then the Hellions will do the same, just not quite as easily as the liberator will. So we do have the Liberators moving out, and I think those are going to be going to the natural. And then the Hellions will be running into the third, which is just now getting saturated. We got a couple of Lings working on these rocks. That's gonna. Oh, actually, he's just going to do a Hellbat Liberator push. So right now, no roaches are going to have any luck getting down that. Alright. I'm not sure I like this Liberator positioning, to be honest. I feel like putting it over the larva would be a better call. 2 Marines here, taking out an Overlord. This Queen is distracted. So this third base is completely forfeit. There's not really anything he can do. Takes a little bit of a pot shot from the Ravager. I feel like he could definitely move this Liberator. Okay, well that Ravager is gone. Now there's no anti-air. So these roaches are going to have a little bit of an issue with these Hellbats. This roach is going to get picked on more than likely. So Jakamakala is definitely in a good position here. He ended up killing 8 workers in that last thing. Steadfast is now supply blocked thanks to the hatchery going down. He does have 3 Overlords in production, but I don't know. I think he's throwing away too many roaches. He should have just tried to hold the higher ground. Probably putting a Spore here to get prepared and then moving his Queens up here would have been the best call in my opinion. These roaches are going to finally clean up these Hellbats, but at what cost? The Liberator's on siege and the roaches start to come back down now. Okay, so these 2 Liberators are just kind of idling here. Both players floating a ton of money. So I do expect to see the Zerg go ahead and throw his third back down. He's got an Extractor on the way. 1-1 is about to finish. He does have a layer, so he could go into Aspire if he really wanted to, but I don't think that's going to be the call we see. 1-1 just now starting for Jaka, but 1-1 just now finishing for the Zerg players. So if he wanted to make an attack, there's not really anything at home to defend it as far as tanks go. Army supply is in favor of the Terran player. I would expect to see Jaka's third landed soon. There it is. It's lifting off now. Let's take a look at the workers. Workers are actually even. Kind of surprised, to be honest. I thought the Terran would be a little bit ahead. So he's going to go ahead and take down these rocks again. He might go ahead and go for an early 4th. I feel like in this situation, just taking your 3rd is not enough. I feel like he's got to try to make a move to get back in the lead. His 2-2's on the way, so he will have an upgrade lead. Because 1-1's still only... yeah, it's not very far ahead of his 2-2, so... he'll be up a full set of upgrades by the time they fight, I would imagine. We do have these 3 Hellions roaming around, just checking for another base. Picking off a creep tumor, so there's not going to be any more creep off in this direction for a while. I do think these roaches are probably going to clean up. Okay, 1 Hellion's going to get away, but that's not too big of a deal. This Overseer is going to fly in through the natural. It's going to see both engineering bays. We do have a scan going down. Where's that at? Oh, he's actually scanning up front. I'm blind. So he does clean up a creep tumor or 2, I would imagine, with that. He's got only 5 Marines. I don't really think these are going to be able to do too much. There's no 4th base on the way for Steadfast yet. And it's queued right now, but I think the drone's probably going to get picked off unless he sends some... Okay, he's sending roaches with the drone. I would be surprised. He just needs to lift up. Lift and run, lift and run. Okay, yeah, there we go. Where's this drone at, man? He must have queued that thing from the other side of the world. Alright, so the drone's going to come and finally take the 4th base. Terran is also getting their 4th command center at the same time, adding on a few more barracks. That will bring us to a total of 9 once those finish. Or actually just 8. There's only 3 there, my bad. So with 2-2 finishing right now, there's a Thor coming out. Not really sure how I feel about that. I would think that would be more for Mutas if he thinks there's a Muta transition coming, but there's not. Some Viking flying in to clear out the Overlords for these drops. But Steadfast kind of read that play and had some roaches in position. Went ahead and moved a Spore over as well. He is going to lose a couple of Marauders for nothing. It's not too big of a deal, but you don't want to throw units away for nothing at the same time. +2 attack is started for Jaka, but the problem with that is that he didn't start his armor upgrade. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose or if he just didn't start it. But with no hive on the way for the Zerg, Zerg will be stuck on 2-2 for quite some time. He's going to go ahead and lift up these Marauders and get out of town with them, picking up a little bit more creep. However, that's just kind of cutting it apart because there's still an active tumor on this side. This is a very defensed position. I don't really see just roaches breaking this anytime soon. Oh man, it's a lot of bile for a medevac. So I'm looking here and I don't really think... He's probably going to get a lot of these Ravagers for free, which is really bad for Steadfast. Definitely should not have taken this fight right here, I don't think. He should have just pulled back to his base. I think Jack is going to take a huge lead here. If only he had concussive shells. If he had concussive shells here, he would have taken a much bigger advantage because he would have been able to pick off more of those roaches. So with that, Jack's going to pull back to his side. He's still got one medevac full of units. I wonder if he did that on purpose or not. He's got his 4th base down, turning into a planetary, so that'll be a little bit safer than usual. I would like to see him take down these rocks, that way he can get his SCVs through there a little bit easier. Then again, I guess I can kind of understand with the roaches wanting to leave those up. So he doesn't have +2 armor on the way still. And he's actually got this army. It's going to be caught out of position here, I think. He opts not to go for that attack. I think he probably could have pulled it off. He looks like he's going to try and sandwich the army. Could throw down some biles on the retreat path, which is exactly what he does. Pretty good splits from Jakamakala here, making sure those bile hit little to no bio at all. Those liberators are going to have to pull back. He actually hits his own roaches there a little bit. I would like to see Steadfast transition up in tech, because Roach Ravager, he has the bank. He could be making Hydras right now, and Hydras would help us out a ton. Hydras would help clear up the Liberators, and then they would also definitely shred through bio. Or at least start making his way towards layer tech. He does look like he's about to make a big attack. Okay, he's going to go check for a 4th, I think, is what's going on right now. We'll see. So Jakamakala is going to follow the army. He could get a little bit of roaches here, but he's actually not going to go for it. Alright, so these roaches are going to get picked off. He's going to attack into the 4th base. Mass repair going down on the planetary, but I think that's going to go down for sure. Now he's just going to try and get these roaches out of here. Jack is maxed out, and Steadfast just maxed out, remaking 14 more roaches. Good splits from Jack again, keeping the bile off of his army. But I think this army is in trouble. It's going to keep getting tagged by the concussive shells. I just don't know how much of it's going to get away. Jakamakala losing a lot to those biles shots, though, and he's losing even more. As soon as these roaches pop, he should be in a pretty good position. Oh man, eating even more shots. That's pretty much going to be the tail of this game. I think if he didn't eat any of those shots, he'd be able to end it right now, because he'd still be pretty close to max. These Ravager eggs are going to take forever to die. Bunch of bio laid down, probably going to pick off a medevac, and that's about it. Liberators out here in no man's land. Loses a tank, that's unfortunate. He could have just lifted that in a medevac and took off, but in the heat of the moment, probably just didn't think about that. So, the Zerg is in a good position yet again. Clears up the creep, and looks like these roaches are just going to clean up this army. And I think, yeah, I just don't see any way that the Terran player can come back now. Unfortunately, I guess I was wrong. I guess the Zerg player doesn't need Hydras, just needs Roaches and Ravagers, and he's fine. I think this comes down to the issue of too many Marauders, which is something that has been talked about by a few different people. Shows how Innovation, for example, will just make pure Marine tank and then go from there, because the Marauder attack just doesn't do very much anymore. Gonna drop a couple biles on the Thors, and I really don't think these Thors were all that worth it. This Thor has 2 kills, can eat a good bit of damage. This tank right here is gonna get a couple free shots off on the roaches. Should definitely move that away. As you can see, our Terran player here is basically out of money at this point. And he just doesn't have the bank to remax. He's got 3-3 on the way, but that's never going to finish, I don't think. I'm pretty sure the game should just end here. Even with this Liberator parked on top of the army, it's not really too much for the army to worry about. This Liberator should go down, as it does. And Steadfast, every time he dips, he just 14 more roaches on the way. So just looking at the standoff here, he's going to load up a medevac. I don't really think there's anywhere this drop can do damage. As you can see, these bases actually don't have any defense with them, though. His whole army is right here. But I think if he sees a drop, he might just commit to an all-in attack here. He is getting the muscular augments for the Hydras, and he is just now starting Hive. But I think that's kind of a mistake on his part, because I'm sure he was in the I'm gonna kill you mode, but he could have had Hive already done by now. Looking at his bank, he definitely could have afforded it, as well as... Alright, so these Marines are going to come in and snipe off this hatchery and probably just get out after that. Roach is coming by, but the hatchery is getting dangerously low. I think he'll be able to get it. And, yep, he even manages to get a couple of the Marines and get out. There is a spore here, so if he would have flew it that way, that medevac would have been toast. But he didn't, so it's okay. And it appears my prediction is wrong, as 3-3 is going to finish, and Jack actually held out long enough to max out again. The only question becomes, what will the Zerg player do once he gets Hive, and if he gets Ultras, he's got the bank for it. He just needs to throw away probably some of his drones. Another drop into the natural. Oh man, if he sniped the Hive right now, he should be going for the Hive. He should be going for the Hive, not the Roach Warren. Oh man. Okay, so the army is coming down. I think he could have gotten the Hive if he would have just targeted it. This drop is going to get killed off now. Vipers are on the way. Terran building armor being researched. That's an interesting one. He does have another base landed, and that's also very good for him. It's going to alleviate some of that drought he's been having as far as income goes. So let's take a look at the income, the workers. As you can see, the Zerg's down to 52, Terran's at 59. So the army will be a little bit bigger for the Zerg player. And I'm not really sure why he's only adding in Vipers. I would think that he would go into Ultras, but maybe Blinding Cloud's a bit better than I thought. We do have multi-pronged drops. This Hive is going to go down, which means no Ultras will come out. The Terran player also picks off this base, so the Zerg player should be in a pretty tough position now. As his tech did just get reset. His whole army is over here. If this army would have moved into the third at the same time, this would all be gone. He still has time. He's going to move in, and it looks like Jakamakala is actually pulling this game back. Okay, there should be some Blinding Clouds thrown down here, maybe... Army. Okay, yeah, Blinding Clouds, pretty good, but he's still running into this concave from the Terran army. He pulls the Thor forward. I don't know if that was worth it. I think I would have rather just had the Blinding Clouds go down. Steadfast supply is dropping so quick, and the Terran player is going to lose this whole army, unfortunately. 25 Hydras is the remax, or the option that the Zerg takes here. As two Marauders are still wailing around down here. Let's take a look at how many workers were lost. 44 workers killed for Jakamakala. I like it. Oh man. Well, he just discovered there is a lot of Hydras. And those Hydras are going to shred this bio army. Let's take a look at the upgrades. Still only 2-2. 3-3 will not be on the way for a long time, as I do not think Steadfast has even remade a lair. Nope, definitely not. Alright, so this Zerg army is going to move up. It's going to run into this army, which has no medevacs, by the way. There's no healing for this army. Once it stims, that's permanent damage. This base is as good as dead if he sees it. And he's found it, so all of these workers are going to die. A whole bunch of mules still had about half life on them. He's going to lose this orbital as well, which is really unfortunate. And let's just take a look at the units tab here. 17 Marauders. As we all know, Marauders do 8 damage, 13 versus armor. But if you look at the army, it is all Hydras. These Marauders are going to be almost useless against this army. And then, as we all know also, the Ravager is not an armored unit, so he won't be dealing any extra damage to that. Couple Blinding Clouds going down, really good Blinding Clouds actually. It's going to make the army have to step back, or it's going to just walk into its death like it's doing now. And here we are with the Zerg. Looks like it's going to take the game here. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the Marauders aren't as bad as I thought. Alright, he's pulling the SCVs, so he's definitely in some trouble. He's going to try and snipe off the medevacs, it looks like. I still think that the Zerg players should have remade their tech behind this, even though it may not seem 100% necessary. Marauders going down rather quickly. This is getting quite intense. Terran's doing very well to stay in this game, let alone keep pulling it back the way they have. And I've got to say, definitely the tail of this game is sniping those bases earlier. That multi-prong drop where he killed the Hive and the 4th base down here was huge. So these Thors actually paying off quite well, having that extra tankiness in the army. And then another base is being secured by the Terran player. Let's take a look at the supplies here. There's only 34 drones on the map for the Zerg player, and he's mining pretty much only off one base. He's finally going to try and take this. He canceled it. It looks like he put it off center. That really hurts. And this low of an economy, you really don't want to throw away 100 minerals like that. So a bunch of Zerglings are going to be the answer here, but I don't think they have. Nope, no melee upgrades. I feel like the Zerg really missed their opportunity to get Hive earlier in the game. The third, the natural's still planted. The third base is flying over here to take that. SCVs are about to discover that Hydras killed them pretty quickly. However, a little bit of a bio army here is going to pick off a Hydra. Probably at least one more. Maybe two. Yep, gets tagged by the concussive shell. Maybe it'll get away. It does. These Lings are getting in and disrupting this mining. Going to pick off quite a few more SCVs. Man, this has just been a slaughter for workers this game. And these Lings kind of just running through. Not really sure what that was all about. He ends up losing all but 2 of them. And he's gonna... No, he's not gonna run over here and find this planetary. But this planetary is actually pretty much indestructible right now. Let's take a look at the units. 13 Hydras on the field. 13 Hydras are not going to kill a planetary. It's not gonna happen. Especially not with the... Well, you can't see it right now. Okay. Plus the building plating gives it 5 armor. These Hydras are not going to kill that. There are Infestors on the way, but I don't believe he has the Infestor upgrade, so I think the Terran's going to pull it out here. This is just absolutely crazy. GG called from Steadfast, and that was an amazing game from Jakamakala. I gotta say, honestly, I feel like the Zerg had this game. I feel like they just threw it away and not getting Hive earlier. I mean, I know the Terran had Thors out and had a heavy Marauder army and all, but I feel like, for sure, Steadfast stayed on Roach Ravager way too long. I mean, he definitely showed me that it's a little bit stronger than I thought it was, but I think he could have added in Hydras much sooner. He could have done, you know, switched to Ultras. He could have gotten 3-3. He never even got to 3-3 because whenever he got his Hive, he didn't start it. And then whenever he lost his Hive, he never remade his lair, which is kind of understandable considering how low his income was. But overall, definitely a very good game from Jack here, showing me that I am just playing TvZ all wrong. So I want to say thank you for sending in the game. Very good game. And I doubt I actually coached anything in this game, so I'm just going to call this a casted game. And thank you for your time, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.